But I need to cite you as a cautionary tale to help my country. And the moral of that tale is, yes, you can move too far left. And when you do, you wind up pushing the people in the middle to the right. At its worst, Canada is what American voters think happens when there's no one putting a check on extreme wokeness. And have you ever seen the Eurovision Song Contest? They actually listen to that crap. Look, everywhere in the world, I'm sure, seems great when you haven't lived there. I hear people tell me Costa Rica is beautiful. I'm sure it is. You'll also get bitten by a snake on the flight over.
The woke left has made criticizing America very common, almost like a habit. They praise the country only when it benefits them while they are in power, but as soon as they are out, they start calling the country a disaster. Bill Maher clearly sees this behavior and openly points it out. He doesn't try to soften his words or hide his opinion. His criticism is direct, strong, and honest. So if you haven't subscribed yet, now is a good time, because this discussion is about to get more interesting.
Again, I'm confused by this political message. Vote for me because I hate it here. Now, does America have big problems? Yes, I've often cited the America Sucks list. Things like being 54th in the world in infant mortality behind Cuba, 19th in literacy behind Russia, 72nd in female representation in government behind Iraq. A lot of work to do here. And is it possible for a country to lose itself so much that leaving it is justified? Yes, but we're not there yet, not by a long shot, and we don't need quitters. We need people who will stay and fix it.
Bill Maher spoke very clearly and directly. He didn't avoid the issue at all. According to him, America does not need people who give up easily. It needs people who are ready to stay, face challenges directly, and work to fix what is broken. He says it is frustrating because if people who claim to care about the country leave when things get hard, then how can anything improve? Maher points out a pattern he often sees. When problems appear, instead of working hard to solve them, many people step back, complain, or walk away. He believes this behavior reduces trust, weakens the country, and makes political success meaningless because there is no real effort to create change. For him, true patriotism means staying strong, being responsible, and continuing to work even when things are difficult. His message is simple. The country needs people who take action, not people who give up.
The problem isn't that America isn't worth defending. Maybe the problem is that lots of people today are entitled whiners who have no perspective and no idea how good they have it. 59% of self-identified liberals say there have been times when they considered leaving America for good, like after NBC canceled The West Wing. I don't get it. You want so badly for every immigrant to come to this country and experience the good life, but somehow it's so terrible you want to leave?
Maher also talks about what he sees as a clear contradiction. He says the woke left often sends confusing messages. On one side, they support open borders and encourage people from around the world to come to America, calling it a land of opportunity. But on the other side, they talk about America as if it is a terrible place and act ready to leave whenever things don't go their way. Maher asks an important question. If the country is really that bad, then why invite others to come? He believes this is not really about policy but about mindset. In his view, some people focus too much on problems and complain a lot, especially when their side loses power. This creates confusion, pushes people away, and weakens the country they claim to care about.
If, for your exile, you do wind up in some comparatively luxurious place like Canada or Japan or the UK, not that they want you. At best, you'll be trading a bunch of stuff you hate about this country for a bunch of stuff you'll soon hate about your new home. It took me only 4 days in Amsterdam to learn that while I admire Amsterdam, I don't want to live there. The buildings are cramped and shaped like needles. The food is awful. The TV's in a different language. It's wet and cold. The people are polite but cold, and they do a bunch of weird shit. The explanation for, according to my friend, was just remember they're high.
Maher also talks about the idea of moving to other countries like Canada, Japan, or the UK. He says people may think life will be better there, but in reality, they will just face a different set of problems. You may leave things you dislike, but soon you will find new things to complain about. He shares his experience in Amsterdam, where he liked the city but quickly realized he would not want to live there. The buildings felt small, the weather was cold and wet, the food was not great, and the culture felt different. His point is simple. Every place has its own challenges. If someone always looks for problems, they will find them anywhere. He believes America, even with its flaws, still offers strong opportunities, innovation, and freedom. Many people around the world still want to move there, which shows its value. Instead of focusing only on problems, people should also recognize its strengths.
Italy always makes the list of great expat destinations because of all those stories on CNN about how you can buy a house in a quaint Italian village for $1, except it's not a house in the way we think of one, as a structure with plumbing and electricity and a roof. When these places were built, the Leaning Tower of Pisa was still straight. Sure, you can spend $100,000 to make them livable, and I'm sure it's no problem to find reliable workmen in rural Italy who you'll then fall in love with, like in Under the Tuscan Sun, but now you're living in some dinky village in Italy with nothing to do but watch the old guys play that game with the wooden balls.
Mar also explains how media and political messages can create a false image of other countries. Many places are shown as perfect, clean, and well-organized, but this image is often carefully created and not fully real. While everything may look better on the surface, real life for people living there can be much more complicated. He believes this kind of messaging can mislead people into thinking other countries are automatically better than America. In reality, they are only seeing a perfect version, not the full truth. The danger, according to Mar, is that people start chasing these unrealistic ideas and ignore the real opportunities and strengths in their own country.
Have you ever seen the Eurovision Song Contest? They actually listen to that crap. Look, everywhere in the world, I'm sure, seems great when you haven't lived there. I hear people tell me Costa Rica is beautiful. I'm sure it is. You'll also get bitten by a snake on the flight over. The travel site Lonely Planet describes Sri Lanka as endless beaches, timeless ruins, welcoming people. And if you love child marriage, food shortages, and the strictest abortion laws in the world, Sri Lanka could be right.
Mar encourages people to think carefully before idealizing other countries. He says that if people do proper research, they will realize that many of these countries have strict rules, economic problems, and social challenges. Some may have slow growth or conditions that make daily life harder than expected. In some cases, newcomers may not feel fully accepted. His main point is that the perfect image of these countries is often misleading. Instead of chasing something that may not be real, people should understand both the good and bad sides of every country. He believes it is better to improve your own country rather than leave it based on unrealistic expectations.
But I hate zombie lies. Zombie lies. That's when things change, but what people say about them doesn't. Yes, for decades, places like Vancouver and Amsterdam and Stockholm seemed idyllic because everything was free and all the energy we needed was produced by riding a bike to your job at the windmill. Canada was where all the treasured goals of liberalism worked perfectly. It was like NPR come to life. But with poutine. Canada was the Statue of Liberty with a low-maintenance haircut and cross-country skis, a giant idealized blue state with single-payer health care, gun control, and abortion on polite demand.
Canada is often seen as a perfect option by many people, especially those who are unhappy with America. It is usually described as peaceful, calm, and more balanced. However, Mar says this image is not completely true. When you look closely, you can see many problems below the surface. He explains that every country has its own struggles, including economic pressure, housing problems, and political issues. The idea that another country is perfect is usually wrong. His message is simple. No place is free from problems, and people should not assume life will automatically be better somewhere else without understanding the full reality.
One problem with thinking everything's better in Canada. It's not. Not anymore, anyway. Last year, Canada added 1.3 million people, which is a lot in 1 year, the equivalent of the U.S. adding 11 million migrants in 1 year. And now they're experiencing a housing crisis even worse than ours. And we're sleeping in tents. The median price of a home here is $346,000. In Canada, converted to US dollars, it's $487,000. If Barbie moved to Winnipeg, she wouldn't be able to afford her dream house, and Ken would be working at Tim Hortons.
Mar gives real examples to support his argument. He talks about the housing crisis in Canada, which has become very serious. In cities like Vancouver and Toronto, house prices are extremely high compared to average incomes, making it very difficult for people to buy homes. In many cases, homes cost more than 10 times what a family earns in a year. Housing costs have also increased a lot in recent years, making life harder for many people. For those who believe Canada is a perfect place to move, this reality can be shocking. High costs show that no country is as perfect as it may appear.
So does their vaunted healthcare system, which ranks dead last among high-income countries in access to primary healthcare and ability to see a doctor in a day or two. And it's not for lack of spending. Of the 30 countries with universal coverage, Canada spends over 13% of its economy on it, which is a lot of money for free healthcare. Look, I'm not saying Canada still isn't a great country. It is, but those aren't paradise numbers. If Canada was an apartment, the lead feature might be America adjacent. And if America was a rental car, Canada would be America or similar.
Mar also talks about healthcare, which is often used as an example of something better in Canada. While the system has some advantages, it also has serious problems. One of the biggest issues is long waiting times. People sometimes have to wait months to see a specialist or receive treatment, and in some cases, nearly a year for certain surgeries. These delays can cause stress and suffering. Even leaders in Canada have admitted that the system has weaknesses. Mar's point is that every system has both strengths and weaknesses, and comparing countries without understanding both sides can lead to wrong conclusions.
Canada, I'm not saying any of this because I enjoy it. I don't because I've always enjoyed you. But I need to cite you as a cautionary tale to help my country. And the moral of that tale is, yes, you can move too far left. And when you do, you wind up pushing the people in the middle to the right. At its worst, Canada is what American voters think happens when there's no one putting a check on extreme wokeness. Like the saga of Canadian shop teacher Kayla Lemieux, whose pronouns are she, her, and those.
Finally, Mar talks about the dangers of extreme political thinking. He believes that when any political group becomes too strict and refuses to accept criticism, it starts to lose connection with ordinary people. Many people may feel frustrated, not because their beliefs have changed, but because the movement itself no longer feels realistic. As a result, some people move toward more balanced and practical views. Mar warns that ignoring problems within a movement can cause it to lose support over time. His message is clear. Making changes and improving is necessary for long-term success. In the end, he says people should focus on reality, think logically, and work to improve their own country instead of chasing unrealistic ideas elsewhere. And with that, the discussion ends. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching and see you next time.